You see, the best love stories, they're not always about romance. Sometimes love just finds you by surprise when you least expect it. Hello, dear hearts. You are most welcome to this circle of tales where every story carries a spark and every spark finds a heart. Settle in, relax, and let me share with you a story worth keeping. This is Ayomide, a woman of quiet strength, carrying within her a tenderness the world often overlooks. She is where our story begins. And of course, it is said that every story of strength finds its echo. And that echo was Ethan, Ayomide's partner, a man of quiet watchfulness. Where Ayomide carries tenderness, Ethan brings steadiness. And together, their lives were reshaped by a love they never went looking for. Some time ago, in a quiet Lagos neighborhood, nothing out of the ordinary, just Ayomide and Ethan, a young couple living life. And then, out of nowhere, their story takes a wild turn, not with a wedding ring or a shiny new house. Nope. Their whole world changed because of something that was waiting for them on the front porch. And when I say they weren't ready for what they found, trust me, you wouldn't be either. One crisp morning, Ayomide opens the door and sees this wicker basket sitting right there. At first glance, it looks like a food delivery. But nope, inside the basket is a baby. Yes, so a whole human being, fast asleep, tiny nose, tiny fists, looking like an angel who missed the memo about where to be dropped off. And then Ayomide notices a note, simple, heartbreaking. It said, "Please love him, I can't." Now, being Ethan, guess what his first reaction was? Immediately, the man shouted, "Call the police!" But Ayomide, her first thought was different. She looked at that baby and said softly, "This baby needs love. And maybe this is the family we've been waiting for." And so, in one terrifying, beautiful, life-changing decision, they kept him. They named him Louis, their son. And from that day, the house wasn't just a home anymore. It became a story in motion. Raising Louis? It was an adventure. Sleepless nights where Ayomide thought she'd never rest again. Scraped knees that made Ethan panic like the boy broke a leg. First words that melted their hearts. First steps that nearly made Ethan cry. And don't even get me started on the first bike ride, because Louis nearly rode straight into a goat. Ethan almost had a heart attack right there on the street. Poor man. The goat just dey look like, "Na me send you." But you see, they weren't just playing the role of parents. They were parents in every laugh, every hug, every single moment. Their family wasn't built on blood. It was built on love. Fierce, unconditional love. But then, 10 years later, a knock came at the door. And this time, it wasn't a baby waiting on the porch. It was Rose, a nervous young woman with eyes full of regret, Louis's birth mother. She stood there trembling, carrying the weight of a decision she made 10 years ago. She told her story. Back then,
I was just a scared girl, confused, alone, with nobody to turn to. Walking away from him, it was the hardest thing I ever did, and I still regret it till today.
Now, she wanted to meet the boy she once thought she couldn't raise. Her face said it all: grief, guilt, hope. And just like that, Ayomide and Ethan's love story, the one that started on a front porch, was about to be tested in ways they never imagined. Because sometimes, the hardest part of love isn't the beginning. It's what happens when the past comes knocking.
Ethan and Ayomide were torn apart. Ethan, being the protective one, anger just took over him. The man was pacing up and down the house like a lion that lost its prey. To him, Rose wasn't a grieving mother, she was a threat, a stranger coming to tear his family apart. But Ayomide, her heart was softer. She looked at Rose and didn't see an enemy. She saw a broken woman. And deep down, she believed Louis deserved to know his history. But between them, tension full ground. That once warm, happy home, the one that used to echo with laughter, bike crashes, and Louis, don't touch that thing, was now filled with arguments and cold silence. Even the walls, if they could talk, they'd beg for earplugs. And then came the hardest part. The one every parent dreads, telling Louis the truth. They sat him down, hands trembling, hearts pounding, Louis holding the small toy Rose had given him. And then, in that trembling little voice, he asked the question that shattered everything.
So, you aren't my real parents?
Ouch, that one cut deep. He looked down at the toy not as a gift, but as a bribe. And in one swift motion, he threw the toy to the floor. The kind of sound that freezes everyone in the room. At that moment, Louis wasn't just a child anymore. He was a storm of confusion, anger, and heartbreak. A few days later, come see wahala. Rose wanted her rights, so she got herself a lawyer. Ethan and Ayomide, the arguments became like Lagos traffic, constant, noisy, and going nowhere. They were so busy fighting, they forgot one very important thing. Louis was watching, always watching. So one night, the poor boy walked in on one of their biggest blow-ups. He didn't scream, he didn't cry. He just stood there, silent. And that silence, was louder than all their shouting combined. Then came the court hearing. The judge, trying to play peacemaker, granted Rose supervised visitation. That satisfied no one. Ethan and Ayomide felt cheated. Louis felt betrayed, like his parents had chosen the law over him. And those supervised visits? Picture this. Louis sitting stiff like a board, arms folded, giving Rose the kind of silent treatment only a 10-year-old can deliver. If eyes could kill, Rose for no survived that first visit. It was awkward, painful, and in Louis's small heart, anger began to grow. Like weeds in a garden nobody was tending. But here's the thing about love, dear hearts. Love doesn't break easy. It bends, it burns, it shakes you to your core. The question was, would it be enough to hold this family together? If you thought Rose was done, think again. Her desperation flipped straight into aggression. She wanted unsupervised visits, overnight stays. Basically, she wanted to press undo on 10 whole years of Ethan and Ayomide's parenting. Then one day, she crossed the line. She went straight to Louis on the porch. Big mistake. She leaned in and whispered, "They are holding you back. I can give you a better life." That was it. The final straw. Because right there, Louis stopped being just a confused child. That small boy's eyes cleared. In that moment, he became a protector. He finally saw Rose, not as the mother he lost, but as a desperate woman trying to destroy the family he loved most. And when it came time to speak in front of the judge, Louis stood tall, chest out, like he was twice his age. And in that soft, steady voice of his, he said, "My parents gave me a family. They gave me a life. They are the only parents I have." Ooh. Even the court clerk had to fight tears that day. And from that moment, the story took a turn no one expected. The judge's gavel came down and boom! Victory for love. Ethan and Ayomide were granted full adoption. No more supervised visits, no more fear. Louis was legally, officially, and forever theirs. Ayomide cried. Ethan cried. Honestly, even the judge looked suspiciously emotional. The whole courtroom felt like a Nollywood finale, except this time there was no dramatic soundtrack. Just real love sealing its place forever. But just when peace finally settled in, guess who rang the doorbell? A few days later, life was soft again. The family was curled up in the living room, watching a movie. Popcorn everywhere, laughter floating through the air. That simple kind of joy that makes a house feel like home. Then, ding dong, the doorbell. Ayomide opened it, and there she was again. Rose, standing like a memory that refused to fade, holding a small gift box. "It's his birthday soon," she said quietly. "Since I won't get to see him, I just wanted him to have this." The moment was heavy, but calm. She handed the box to Ayomide, smiled a little, and walked away, disappearing into the night like a ghost carrying her own heartbreak. But not every gift is meant to be opened. Ayomide looked at the box, her hand trembling just a little. Ethan came close, eyes asking the question she didn't need to answer. She shook her head. Doesn't matter. She placed the box on the floor. Because they both knew some gifts carry too much pain. And some doors, you just don't reopen. You let them stay closed. But time always writes its own ending. Years later, Louis, now grown, tall, and wise beyond his years, sat quietly with a photo album on his lap. He flipped through the pages, stopping at an old picture of that wicker basket and the note that started it all. But this time, he didn't see abandonment. He saw beginning. He saw love, the kind that chose him, fought for him, and never let him go. He smiled at a photo of Ethan and Ayomide, the parents that stood by him through every storm. And right there, Louis understood that the truest love isn't found in a gift bag. It isn't sealed by a court paper. It's in the family that chooses you. The family that stays when everything else falls away. And just like that, the story wasn't about loss anymore. It was about love. Pure, simple, unstoppable love. Because at the end of the day, the greatest love stories aren't always about romance. Sometimes they're about the family you never expected, but the one you can't live without. Hello, dear hearts. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and leave a comment. I truly love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe, so you'll be here when our circle of tales gathers again. Until next time, stay kind, stay warm, and keep love close. Bye for now.